Good evening and a very warm welcome to you here on Hope TV Newswatch on this Good Friday. So glad you could join us. I hope your celebrations today went well. My name is Grace Ongoi and the one interpreting for us tonight is Boniface Muredi. Let's begin. Now, it is a relief for Kenyans who are yet to register their SIM cards after the Communications Authority of Kenya extended the SIM card registration deadline by 6 months to October 15th, 2022, following consultations with telecommunication companies. However, Communication Authority Director General Ezra Chiloba says users who will still be unregistered by the lapse of the new deadline will be fined. This even as the authority maintains that the registration exercise is anchored in the Constitution, mandating mobile network operators to carry out the exercise. Tess Njenga begins our bulletin.
The extension also followed extensive consultations between CA and the mobile network operators after a meeting yesterday to assess the success rate of the exercise. In the new directive, CA has also warned that it will fine users who will not have registered their SIM cards by the lapse of the new deadline. CA Director General Ezra Chiloba had earlier clarified that the people targeted for registration are holders of SIM cards that haven't been registered or are registered using other people's identification details.
We got about 65 million SIM cards out there in operation. 65 million. What is the population of Kenya? So if you're duly registered, you don't need to go to your operator or your service provider to get re-registered.
Even with the directive, some politicians have been raising questions on the legality of the exercise, including Ford Kenya Party leader Moses Wetangula and Deputy President William Ruto, who said that there were more pressing issues at hand.
There is an event going on that is again unlawful, unconstitutional, outrightly illegal, and Kenyans should ask questions. When you buy your SIM card from any service provider, you give your full details and you are registered and your data is entered in the provider's registry. Why is the state requiring Kenyans to queue to re-register their SIM cards?
There is a fuel crisis in Kenya. Adding on to the long queues everywhere. The long queues, even on a simple matter of SIM cards. We want to ask our people in the CA, please, card for them to be registered. We have enough time. What is this magic about Friday? The SIM card registrations can wait up to December, maybe.
As politicians continue to castigate the exercise, the Communication Authority of Kenya has, however, clarified that the ongoing exercise has nothing to do with the upcoming polls, noting that the validation exercise is targeting subscribers who are not duly registered. At the same time, Safaricom has announced online SIM card registration after backlash from a section of Kenyans. The online platform will reduce the long queues witnessed at Safaricom shops countrywide and enable faster registration. Safaricom controls approximately 64.5% of the Kenyan market as at 2020, with a subscriber base estimated at approximately 35.6 million. Meanwhile, a section of Kenyans on social media had dared Safaricom to switch off their lines and save them from deaths and threatening calls from mobile money lenders. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Thank you, Tess, for that report. Now, moving on, although the Communication Authority of Kenya has postponed SIM registration to 15th October this year, Kenyans have expressed frustration over why they are being compelled to register their SIM cards. Many Kenyans have lamented that they had stayed with their current SIM cards for many years and did not understand why it had become a matter of urgency that they register their SIM cards at this time.
Hawafai kufunga simu, wanafaa watupatie muda sisi tuendelee, kwa maana watu wale wako Kenya hii ni wengi sana. Kwa hivyo kama mimi ningesema watu waongeze muda wawache hiyo haraka yao.
By the way, because you know, after all ni lines zetu lazima tu update, you know, but pia lazima tuambiwe why are we updating, you know, because we've been using the lines na kuna watu older than me hadi wamekuwa 10 years they were using the same line na haikuwa na shida. Then now it happens we are registering, tuna update tena, we are asked for our IDs, sign. Jadi sikumbuki nikienda kununua line kama nilikuwa na sign pia, you know.
Tuseme serikali, tungeomba serikali ipe watu muda juu Wakenya tuko wengi. Na ukienda kwa hizi mashop za Safaricom mama Airtel, hizi wamepeana. Inafaa ongeze watu muda kidogo, watu waweze kuregister. Juu unaenda unapata line kubwa, unaingia kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni haujafikiwa.
Let's now move to some Easter stories. President Uhuru Kenyatta has called on Kenyans to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the nation as Christians across the country gathered to mark the Easter celebrations. The president implored on citizens to take the opportunity and help the less fortunate in the society. While wishing Kenyans a happy Easter, the head of state underscored the need to champion for peace in remembrance of the sacrifice made by Jesus in line with the teachings of the Bible.
He's alive and unforgiven. Heaven's gates are open wide. He's alive.
His torture was not in vain. It was for a great purpose that his followers may learn from him. Praise the name of the Lord. And as his followers, we too experience some of the things that he went through. We get insulted. We get persecuted. Men and women of God, it's not yet over until the Lord says so. That situation is not meant to kill you. You will overcome and come out of it victoriously because Jesus did it.
This is an important day for the Christian faith. But people choose to go to Mombasa, to Kisumu. May the Lord bless them wherever they are. May the Lord touch them wherever they are. My prayer is that one of these days our minds will be turned around, that we may understand how critical this day is for the Christian faith.
It was not greed only. He also led into betrayal under the influence of the devil. And the question we are asking, have you allowed the devil to take hold of you by your conduct? Have you allowed the devil to take hold of your family and your marriage by your conduct? Have you allowed the devil to rule over your marriage by your conduct? Have you allowed the devil to rule over your children by your conduct? Have you allowed the devil to rule over you in things that do not glorify God? Having the character similar to that of Judas will lead to destruction.
Now, Kenyans join the rest of the world in Easter celebrations. Unlike last year when Kenyans celebrated under tight COVID-19 protocols, this year's celebrations were done with eased COVID-19 protocols. However, according to Kenyans, not all is merry as they grapple with tough economic times, including the recent upward review of fuel prices. Let's listen in to some of the comments from a section of Wananchi.
Ningeuliza serikali ya Kenya irudishe vitu chini badala ya hiyo bei wanafanyanga. Kwa maana sisi tunafinyiliwa zaidi. Kwa hivyo ni kuoneza ya kwamba watu wale wako nyuma watakaa nyuma maisha. Hakuna maendeleo wataendelea naye. Kwa hivyo ningeuliza serikali ijaribu kupandilisha bei ya vitu.
So about this Easter, let me say it's not like the other Easters too. Like sai things are tough, though economy imepanda, mafuta imepanda, like hadi unapata life iko juu kiasi. So like compared to other Easters, unapata like Easter ni where like we unaenda wengi, we go at home. We go celebrate with our families Easter and Good Friday Evo. But now unaona economy imepanda, mafuta imepanda, hadi sasa kwenda home ni ngumu juu it's expensive then
Maisha around imekuwa juu sana, hata asingeweza kwenda nyumbani Easter. Juu ukiangalia fare iko imeshoot up, alafu live imepanda, kila kitu imepanda, hata shule si watoto wanaendaje. Kwa hivyo naomba serikali kama inaweza iteremshe vitu sana sana mafuta, at least wananchi waweze kujidumu kimaisha.
Ijakuwa tu bado wenyewe tuko vile, lakini at least watoto wamefunga na watu wamerelax. Tunaona watu wamerelax, watu wanaenda wakibeba watoto hivi nini, mtembea na watoto. Iko poa. Niko give thanks. Si pesa ama si wewe uko hai. Maisha yako sinaendelea. Shukuru Mungu penye tuko. Hapo pengine penye tunataka kuenda mbele, tuombe Mungu atufikishe hapo. Maisha ni ngumu na sisi tunakaa ngumu. Hakuna kitu kingine.
Now to some politics. The April 2022 United Democratic Alliance UDA nominations will be remembered in history of primaries, as seasoned politicians have been left in the cold in the results announced at the tallying centers across the country. Among those that have lost their bids are politicians close to Deputy President William Ruto, who include Laikipia Women Representative Ketu Arugoro, Soy MP Caleb Kositani, nominated Senator Wilson Sosion, Bomet Senator Christopher Langat, among others. Some of the politicians have called for DP Ruto's intervention, as others call for a repeat of the nomination, failure to which they will be forced to decamp and vie as independent candidates. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, the UDA Disputes Resolution Committee says aspirants lodging complaints in disputed nominations are required to pay a fee before probe.
It was a do-or-die battle for aspirants seeking the United Democratic Alliance ticket for various electoral positions in the August polls on Thursday, as the party conducted nominations in 36 counties across the country. A day after the D-Day, the results continue to stream in, and a section of political heavyweights and close allies to Deputy President William Ruto are crying foul as they flawed in the nominations. Some of the big names that lost in the primaries include the incumbent Kuresoi North MP and Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly Moses Cheboy, who lost to the MCA of Sirikiwa Ward; Laikipia Women Rep Ketu Aruguru, who has been an outspoken supporter of DP Ruto, has lost the bid to run for Laikipia East MP seat on UDA after Amin Dedi defeated her by over 7,000 votes. Former Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet was another bigwig who did not make it in the polls after losing the Elgeyo Marakwet gubernatorial ticket to the current Deputy Governor Wesley Rotich. Former Naivasha MP John Kihagi caused a major upset to the incumbent Jane Kihara after winning the highly contested race. Soy MP Caleb Kositani and nominated Senator Wilson Sosion are among the DP Ruto key men who have also lost in the party primaries. In the county of Mombasa, a section of aspirants from Vita constituency have raised questions on the authenticity of the party polls and are accusing the nomination coordinators in the county for not conducting the polls fairly, and are now threatening to call it quits if their grievances are not addressed.
First, we were promised to use IEBC na register ya chama, but it did not happen. Second thing, me as an aspirant, nimefika kwa kituo naambiwa jina langu hakuna kwa register, and I'm a registered voter. Kama jina yangu hakuna, sijajipigia kura mpaka saa hii. Nani atakayenipigia kura?
Huu ujumbe umfikie William Samoei Ruto hapo alipo na viongozi wote wa UDA, kwa sababu tuna imani haya yaliyotendeka leo Bwana Ruto hayajui na viongozi wa UDA hawajui na ofisi ya UDA haijui. Hii ni mchezo ambao umechezwa Mombasa County, ukitoka kwa wale wahusika, ikianza na coordinator.
Kwa kweli naona hapa kwenye hiki chama kuna matajiri ambao wanafanya biashara ndani ya hiki chama. Bwana DP, naomba uliangalie hili swala na ulikodolee macho kwa macho mawili. Una intelligence nzuri sana na imani, na tulikuwa na imani na wewe na bado tuko na imani na wewe.
Tunataka haki itendeke ndani ya Mombasa County. Tunatuma hizi salamu kwa gavana wetu Sarai na kwa patron wetu Ruto. Can you sit down, call all these aspirants? If this is not going to happen, forget about UDA in Majengo. We as the youth of Majengo, we are not going to vote. We are going to impeach UDA out of Majengo. Kama hakuna haki, hakuna kura za UDA ndani ya Majengo. Tunataka haki itendeke.
It is, however, a big blow to the aspirants who have lost in the nominations, as they cannot hope to any other party, with the only remaining option for them is to vie as independent candidates in the August polls. The UDA Disputes Resolution Committee now says aspirants lodging complaints in disputed nominations are required to pay a fee before the case is addressed, which include a whopping 200,000 for the gubernatorial aspirants, 100,000 for the senatorial, women rep and MP aspirants, and 20,000 for the MCA aspirants. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Kennedy, for that report. Now, moving on, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has fronted former Kibwezi MP Professor Philip Kaloki as a Nairobi gubernatorial candidate, allowing him to hold discussions with Jubilee candidate Richard Ngatia. Kalonzo has also endorsed the Ngatia-Kaloki Nairobi Dream Team as the Nairobi gubernatorial race continues to gain momentum, with Kaloki agreeing to be Ngatia's running mate. Wiper has also endorsed Wavinya Ndeti for the Machakos gubernatorial race after Mavoko MP Patrick Makau stepped down to support her, while Kitui women rep Irene Kasalu and Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua defended their seats unopposed through Wiper after reaching consensus with their opponents.
Vyama vingi wanajaribu kuepa mambo ya nomination, and I can understand why. Kuna wengine vyama briefcase carriers. Anabeba hapa, anakupigia simu. Wewe, nimekutambua kama I give you a direct ticket. What they don't tell you, ni kwamba briefcase party kwenda kushawishi wananchi kupigia kura will be a problem. So the main parties ndio unaona na shida. Unaona furugu inaendelea kwa UDA. We are going to complete our consensus building. We are proposing as a party to give you a worthy candidate for Deputy Nairobi, Professor Philip Kaloki. He is our most valued asset as Wiper. Because we realized, kuna watu wanamuonea Governor Sonko, wanafanya hii, mambo yao hivi, mambo sema wacha ni convince kijana yetu aende Mombasa. Because governor can be elected anywhere. Lakini, wacha tuupe Professor Kaloki.
It took a lot of heart and sacrifice to reach where we reached. And now, I believe, more than ever before, that giving in is strength. Sacrificing for others is even stronger.
To take this opportunity to thank my able brother, Honorable Makau. Mheshimiwa Makau, don't look at him like that. We have grown up together. We have played together. Okay? And my brother, I don't take us growing up together, playing together, doing things together for granted. I want to thank you for accepting to support me. Nasema yaliondoele CP.
We've been able to have serious discussions with Mr. Ngatia, and it's also good at the moment here to declare that Mr. Ngatia is going to be our aspirant for Governor, Nairobi County, and he has my full support. Your Excellency also, with that ticket, I can also have made your work a little bit easier. I have accepted to be the Deputy Governor for Mr. Ngatia.
Meanwhile, Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua has accused Governors Charity Ngilu of Kitui, Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua, Professor Kivutha Kibwana of Makueni, and Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate spokesperson Makau Mutua of hindering Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka's efforts to be Raila Odinga's presidential running mate. Leaders allied to Wiper have maintained that Musyoka must be Odinga's running mate, given the number of votes Wiper will deliver to the Azimio Oka presidential candidate. The leaders were speaking as Kalonzo led the party in issuing acknowledgement letters to unopposed Wiper candidates following consensus agreement.
Raila Amolo Odinga, you have walked the journey with His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. You did very well. You won in 2017. Why would you go and pick another deputy instead of the one that you won with? We, as Kamba community, we will bring you our votes. We will bring you 101% of our votes if you take His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka.
The problem in this thing, iko na watu wanne na mmoja wa tano wameongezwa hapo. Shida iko na Alfred Mutua, governor Machakos. Shida ya pili iko na Kivutha Kibwana, governor Makueni. Mtu wa tatu anaitwa Charity Ngilu, governor Kitui. Wa nne anaitwa Professor Makau Mutua, who speaks for Raila. Na sasa Raphael Tuju ameanza kuingilia hii maneno. I want to make it very clear that, you know what, we are not playing games. This is serious business. Na sisi tumesema party leader adil na level yake. Na level yake ni President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta na the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga.
In Azimio now, we need to see clarity. Our party leader must be gazetted like others. To be the number 2 flag bearer of Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya. We are no longer going to live in shadows. We want now to pull and point our barrels towards Kenya Kwisha. We all know our party leader, in fact, just like me, he sacrificed. And by him sacrificing, it's not a sign of weakness.
Let's now take our first break here, and Hope TV Newswatch will be back with more stories. Don't go away.
When praying for a miracle, desperation is the sound of our cry.
Those kids, they are needy, and now where we are, we can't be able to take them to secondary school.
At Brook Springs Educational Center, 13 students are having sleepless nights with fear of missing a chance at secondary education due to lack of school fees.
I'd like to urge the people who are able to sponsor any children to also take part in this.
Because my parents were not able to cater for my education, so this school sponsored me.
The school has catered for their primary school expenses, but now in dire need for well-wishers support for their secondary school fees.
We have been thinking and praying, and God give us some finances. Help us to make sure that these children continue with their education.
Catch their story on Hope for a Miracle on Monday at 9 p.m. with Dolly Mwirigi. Only on Hope TV. Look and live.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, George Jalango Midiwo has petitioned ODM party primaries results after he failed to clinch the ODM party ticket for Gem constituency in the recently concluded Orange party primaries. Against the expectations of many that he will sail through the influence of his late brother who served for 3 terms, the incumbent Elisha Odhiambo trounced him to clinch the ODM ticket. Midiwo claimed that the opponent used violence against his supporters who turned up to vote for him.
All the clerks in game were teachers whom we know, and they are allied to the outgoing MP, Mr. Elisha Odhiambo. So we wonder how the clerks were arrived at, were chosen, and the returning officer is a well-known friend to the outgoing MP, Mr. Elisha Odhiambo. From the onset, violence erupted in almost all the voting stations in game. My agents were thrown out, were beaten, all over game, but especially in South and West game and Central game and East game, where I have a very strong following. This culminated in the arrest of 12 hooligans, goons, who the police arrested at Ndegwe polling station with hand grenades and tear gases and knives and guns.
There's something else you can do. We know you are going through a difficult process. I ask of you to go through a process of self-introspection, to reflect back and think, if you are not there today, what will you be remembered for? You should be remembered for something. You should not be remembered for somebody who took people to court every day. You should be remembered for somebody who believed in forgiveness and reconciliation. And I will take this mantle to ensure that our MCAs who have lost, that I have a meeting with them. My opponent who lost, I have a meeting with him, because there's always enough in this country for all of us.
On ODM nominations, Siaya Town came to a standstill as winners of the ODM party primaries led their supporters in celebrating their victory. Alego Usonga parliamentary nominee Samuel Atandi, Gem MP Elisha Odhiambo and Siaya Township Ward Rep James Otare took to the streets to celebrate their victories and thank the electorate following the nominations. Gem MP Elisha Odhiambo called for the members of public to embrace all nominated candidates and work towards building the county and the country at large. In Alego Usonga constituency, the incumbent Samuel Atandi won with 17,789 votes, followed by Dr. Nicholas Kut Ochoga with 3,350 votes, while nominated MP Professor Jacqueline Odwol came at a distant third with 542 votes. Gem MP Elisha Ocheng Odhiambo won with 7,405 votes against his sole competitor Dr. Jalango Midiwo, who garnered 6,384 votes.
Most of you will agree with me that this board has done a wonderful job in giving us a credible election. We did not expect that this election would turn out to be this way, but I think 90% of the aspirants agree with me that the elections were conducted in a free, fair, and competent manner. Secondly, I want to thank the people of Alego Usonga. For many years, it was said that it would not be possible for us to have an MP serving a second term. And the amount of votes that I have received today is a demonstration that the people of Alego are tired and they want a leader who is going to take them forward. I want to thank them for the full confidence that they've shown in my leadership, and I want to promise them that going forward I will even work more harder.
Now, the government has released 6 billion shillings to the National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF, for the Universal Health Coverage, UHC. This is according to Health Principal Secretary Susan Mochache, who said at least 1 million Kenyan families had already been registered for the program since it started, and that a further 220,000 will be registered this year as the state inches towards the target of 4 million families. Dr. Mochache, who was speaking at the Baolala Health Center in Malindi, Kilifi County, at the same time, encouraged Kenyans to register with the National Health Insurance by paying a monthly fee of 500 shillings in order to access services in public and private health facilities with ease.
Nchi zote ambazo zimeweza kufikia lengo la UHC hazikufika hapo, yani mahali ambapo kila mtu katika nchi anapata bima. Ni safari, na nchi zingine zimechukua muda mrefu, lakini sisi tukiendelea vile tunavyoendelea kwa muda usio mrefu, tutapata kwamba wale wote ambao wanafaa kusajiliwa na serikali wataweza kusajiliwa, ambazo ni idadi ya familia milioni 4.
Tunaomba ya kwamba sisi zote tumepata hii bima tuende hospitalini. Kilifi County transmission rates za mama kutoka HIV kwa mama kwa mtoto iko juu sana, na kwa sababu zile waziri amesema ya kwamba watu wengi waende hospitali kupata mtoto, na ndio tunasema kwa sababu kuna bima, tafadhali mama akitaka kupanga kupata mtoto aende hospitalini.
Nilijiandikisha mwaka jana mwezi wa 8, na kwa wakati nikijiandikisha nilikuwa tuna matatizo, lakini sikuwa hasa kile kini ambacho kilikuwa kinanitatiza sikuwa najua, lakini nilipoanza kwenda hospitali ndio nikapatikana niko na matatizo ya fibroids. Kwa hivyo kawa inahitajika nifanywe hiyo operation, na nilihitajika kulipa 1120, na kiupande wangu nisingeweza kwa sababu ya mapato hasa.
Wakati mke wangu akaenda kuzaa pia ilisimamia hizo ni through NHIF na ile Linda Mama Card, nikaweza kusaidika na tukulipa malipo yote.
Moving on, the Kenya Defence Forces KDF officers conducting operations at the Boni Forest in Garissa County have finished the construction of 4 classrooms in Sinai Primary School. Learning has been halted in the school for the past 10 years due to terror attacks from Al-Shabaab. In 2011, the school was set on fire by Al-Shabaab militia group, forcing learners to travel long distances to access education. The construction of the 4 classrooms was at a cost of 5 million shillings.
Some years back, watoto walikuwa wakisoma kama kawaida, shule zilikuwa zikiendelea. Alafu tena hali ya usalama hapa ikaharibika, shule ikavurugika, watoto wakaenda kwingine, wengine wako nyumbani mpaka sasa hawakusoma.
So tunashukuru sana KDF kwa vile wametujengea shule mpya. Leo watu ya Sinai wako na furaha vigelegele. Rabili 10 years hatakuwa na masomo hapa Sinai. 10 years hatakuwa na masomo. Lakini sasa hivi watoto wengi wako. Wengine wako wamekoma, wamekuwa kubwa, wanajunga ng'ombe. Wengine wengi wameenda town kubwa kama Garissa, Nairobi kutafuta kazi.
Tumesema tutaipeleka mwalimu ambaye tutairudisha ile mwalimu ametoka hapa ili masomo iweze kuendelea.
Effort kama hii ama juhudi kama hile inachangia pakubwa kwa kupunguza ama kuzuia vijana kujiunga kwa vikundi mbaya ambazo are not illegal na kama Al-Shabaab na mengine na others.
Now, Ugandan-based Sarai Group Limited has suffered a major setback after the High Court in Nairobi cancelled its lease to operate Mumias Sugar Company, ordered it to leave the premises and removed Ponangipali Venkata Romana Rao as the administrator of the company and appointed Kirato Marima as the new administrator of Mumias Sugar Company. While delivering the ruling Thursday, the notion of public interest weighed heavily on the court, with Justice Mabeya noting that the collapse of Mumias Sugar Company will have socio-economic consequences to the sugar belt.
Rao had been operating the affairs of Mumias with impunity, opacity,
and all his actions in the way he leased that all the sugar factory assets of Mumias to Sarai were shrouded in secrecy.
We consider that the position of West Kenya has been vindicated, and we are looking forward to a proper administration process that is fair and is in accordance with the law being conducted by the new administrator.
In fact, the court has, as my colleague Mr. Gitonga has informed you, stated that Rao was acting with impunity, and all his actions were to ensure that Mumias is perpetually in debt and that it never gets itself out of the shackles of receivership and administration. In fact, the phrase the judge used is that Rao wants to use Mumias as his retirement home, which is actually what the truth is. So we are extremely happy that the judge has vindicated the cries of all the creditors and listened to the cries of the creditors that actually Mumias was being gifted away to foreigners so that that foreigner could cannibalize all its assets.
South Africa's government has declared a state of disaster in an area in the east of the country, which was hit by severe flooding earlier this week, leaving more than 350 people dead and causing huge damage to homes and businesses. Most of the destruction has been in the Durban area of KwaZulu-Natal province, with the country's third most populous city. According to South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa, the disaster is part of climate change. However, some locals have blamed poor infrastructure for the scale of the flooding. Hundreds have now taken refuge in community centers and churches, with entire community dwellings having been washed away and rendered unsafe. Muthaiga Golf Club has won this year's Senior Tannehill Shield Prize with a 242 points score, setting up a bruising battle for the main prize. They were followed by hosts Royal Nairobi Golf Club with 255 points and Railway Golf Club with 260 points, who took up to the second runners-up spot. This is the first time the Easter tournament has hosted a senior team category competition. The tournament brings close to 90 players drawn from golf clubs across the country to compete for the Tannehill Shield, Kenya's biggest inter-club competition. Headlining this year's main tournament is Magical Kenya Open teen sensation Njoroge Kibugu from the Muthaiga Golf Club, who will lead the former champions across the weekend in search of Kenya's oldest Shield prize.
It's not going to be easy because every club is extremely prepared and everyone wants to win this tournament. It's been dominated by Muthaiga and Royal in the past, but I know there are quite a number of clubs that are now ready and feel that it's their time, you know, to take part. So I know it's not going to be easy. The scores are going to be very tight, and but may the best team win. You know, we look forward to the luncheon on Sunday afternoon, where we shall award the shield to the winners.
This year there are 15 clubs represented. I think last year were only 10 clubs represented. So it's fantastic to see that. It's a much bigger event than it has ever been, and it's now open to the public. Previously, in previous years, it was not open to the public to come and spectate. So it's also interesting to see very many spectators come and watch golf this time. So as Cheaper Cash, because it speaks to the fact that we want to put ourselves out there in all demographics. So yes, we are foreseeing that will do.
And that sports story brings us to the end of this live broadcast. Many thanks for keeping me company. My name is Grace Ongoi, and a sign language interpreter tonight has been Boniface Moredi. Enjoy the rest of your programming and have a restful weekend. Bye-bye.